Hey there fellow gardeners, Chris from Garden Setting here today, and I wanted to talk about my carrots because this is our first winter season. We have planted some carrots and as you can see here we've had a really good result. Now, one of the pieces of advice I have seen is people recommending not to buy carrot seedlings to grow them from seed, and I don't know if you can see over here, but that is where all of our seed grown carrots are, and yes, that is an empty section of the garden. Now, one of the things I do really like is when the more experienced gardeners give new gardeners a bit of a pointer on where they can save money. And when I first started gardening, I was kind of like, why would you not buy seedlings? It's just so easy. But you do realize as you get more and more garden beds and you're trying to grow more crops and kind of you're thinking of a return on investment, seedlings don't make as much sense for a lot of things. Now with carrots, it would make a lot of sense to grow them from seed. However, I didn't realize just how finicky it could be to basically get those seeds going. And from what I understand, it's kind of like 21 days where you really have to baby them to make sure that they grow into a carrot. And for me, as someone who obviously wants to expand my skills, but also wants some easy wins, these seedlings have been the success story, and trying to grow them from seeds, at least that first attempt, has been an utter failure, which is quite sad. Now, these are purple carrots. They're something a little bit unusual. We saw them. It was fairly cheap. Got quite a few growing here. I'm going to dig them up now. Essentially speaking, yeah, purple carrot. I think they had, 4 to 6 weeks. I think it's been about 6 weeks. So these, I would say, aren't going to grow anymore. We have just had a nice downpour of rain, but the rain has been a little bit finicky and I'm not the best at really regular watering. So we'll have a bit of an idea of just how these carrots have gone. For those of you who, like me, are maybe doing this for the first time and wondering what you can expect. Now, those came out of the ground very, very easily. What a whopper. Look at those massive sized carrots. Now, one of the reasons that seedlings were not recommended, which I would say is probably good advice, is because when you replant them, there is the chance that you will kind of affect the root and that will stop them growing properly, which is, I would guess, what has happened here. They've kind of got bent over roots, which obviously would have a big effect on them growing. I do think as a newbie gardener, my soil mix is probably a little bit too dense to be ideal for kind of root vegetables in some cases. So it's also possible that has been a big kind of limiting factor. I think also my spacing hasn't been the best. What I did try and do is when I planted them, to avoid kind of that shock to the roots and the damage to the roots, I planted them so that they were kind of kept close together. And I've got, looks like a bigger one here. Oh, I thought it was a bigger one. Again, yeah, look at this guy. This is 2 carrots grown through each other. Quite literally, they have grown around each other. I think these 2 carrots may be married. I'll give you a closer look in a second, but not a great result there. Another very, very small carrot, but you know, not too bad on the shape and size. Or maybe not the size, but you know, we'll take the wins where we can. Similar kind of thing here. They're not very purple. It's like, I'm going to leave some of these in the ground and basically see whether they grow a bit more, because, oh look, that's a better one. Oh, he's brought out a couple others with him. And a bit more on the purple side as well. If you were planning on growing baby carrots, you might not be so disappointed. Again, the roots in these ones have kind of grown through each other, which is really not ideally what you want. I feel like when I planted these as well, I realized there was a 2 too close together. I thought I was putting them in clumps, but you know, that's 6. So yeah, I think I massively kind of underestimated how many there was in that punnet I bought, which I mean is not a bad thing. So yeah, and I mean, these are all coming out together. And they are all tiny, but it's that beautiful carrot smell. I feel like that's enough to grow them. I can buy carrots for like a bag of $1 for $1. It's probably the cheapest thing I can buy. My wife hates them because I cook them so often for that very reason. They're like inexpensive. They're a good vegetable to add to a meal. That fresh carrot smell is intoxicatingly good. And let's have a look. I'll show you what we've got out of our kind of one punnet of carrots that we bought. I'm pretty sure these are all the same. I'm pretty sure these are all the purple carrots. They're kind of like a baby carrot the way they've come out, which if you were hoping to get a really good crop, then maybe not the best thing. I think they've grown okay. I will be retrying seeds, but certainly that's probably not what most people want. Enough to be edible, so that's something. My wrap up of the video: buy some seedlings, buy some seeds as well. Expect to have to spend a fair bit of time and effort to get those seedlings growing from seed, and have a really good plan in how you're going to transplant them into your garden without damaging the roots, because that is important. But rather than facing disappointment, go with both, hedge your bets, and you'll get something to eat out of it. Maybe not much, but better than that empty expanse of garden that we've got over there that was meant to be 2 rows of carrots that should have been growing quite happily. And I do think the moisture was an issue. I did try and keep it watered, but I just don't think it was enough. And again, I've heard of people saying grow your carrot seeds in toilet rolls, so then you just chuck them in the ground and they just keep growing, and it's, not this big shock to the roots and things like that. I feel like that's good advice. There are some plants that I think it's much better advice to say grow from seed. I've got radish all along here that we didn't put in that long ago. They seem to be going quite well. I probably should basically go through there and thin them out a little bit. But I'm interested to see if we have more success, because the radishes in the past have grown very leafy. The radish side of the radish has been non-existent, but that's something that growing from seed I find super easy. With that one, I think that's good advice, whereas with the carrots, maybe not so much. And I will say, once again, there's not much developing on these, and these went in a good 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's possible we're going to have some disappointing radishes as well, which would be unfortunate, but again, maybe I just need to fertilize them a bit more. It's possible that they're not getting enough sun here as well. This side of the garden in winter doesn't get as much sun. In summer, it gets heaps of sun. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. When you've got those kind of 2 extremes, it's hard. And we are planning on putting some garden beds in the other side. The problem is they need to be self-contained garden beds, because that's where the septic system is, and there can't be any kind of cross-contamination at all. They will be self-wicking beds off the ground, all that kind of stuff. But for the moment, as far as kind of the first winter of trying to grow things, it's been kind of disappointing. There hasn't been a lot of successes. I would probably count this as the biggest success so far. And yeah, you live and learn. We'll see how we go. And I might try and get some seeds going in the little greenhouse we've got and see whether we have a little bit more success there, really babying them, like I said.